But tonight I want to tell you a story because I had something very significant happen to me this week. And I think it's ironic. In fact, I know it's heaven sent that, one, I have a person on the line who's known me for a long time here that could testify to, what's gone on with me over many, many years. And I also have a person on the line who is in England. And I think it's ironic because I'm going to tell you a story tonight. It has everything to do with England. So let's start the story. Guys, 1999, and I know a lot of you guys know my basic story of what happened to me, and I'm going to cover it, but in a very different way tonight. Not so much to talk about me, because let's face it, who cares? Right? You're here to learn about you. You're here to learn about how you can change your life, how you can do better in your job if you're enjoying your job, how you can get out of your job if you want to get out of your job. We're here to learn about how you can get more of whatever it is that you want. Who cares about me? I mean, seriously, when I used to go to these meetings and listen to these calls, I love to hear the stories because they gave me reason to believe. But the bottom line is when somebody talks too much about themselves, nobody gives a, nobody cares. But we're going to talk about this journey for a reason. 1999, I was overweight. I wasn't overweight. I was obese. I was really, really broke. I was a stay-at-home mom. I had left my full-time job because I wanted to be home with my babies. And I got carried away, and I take full responsibility. At the time, I wanted to blame the world, but today I know that the minute you stand in responsibility for the things you've done or the minute you can change things. I kept spending a lot of money as if I still had my full-time state job. I made good money. I worked in education at a college. I kept spending like that. And before you knew it, 8 months had gone by. I had 2 little kids, and I had accumulated $40,000 in credit card debt. This was outside of, the mortgage and the college loans and the car payments. I had bills that had bills. I had collectors calling my house. And the worst part is that I was all alone in this shame because nobody in my family knew, including my husband. I was hiding it. He had always agreed to everything we bought, but he didn't realize how it was racking up. My parents didn't know. Nobody knew. And I was alone in this. And it was back then that I was introduced to the home business industry. And by the way, I'm the dream girl that you want to recruit, the customer who turns into the rock star. So my husband's cousin sold me some weight loss products because I wanted to lose weight very badly. And I went down to this meeting, and most of you guys that have been on our calls or seen one of my videos, you know the story. I sat there, and it was like the angels sang, and I went, ah! This is it. This is it. I'm going to fix this mess. I'm going to fix this mess. And I bought my business in a box for $79. And I went home and I said, ta-da, I'm going to lose over 100 pounds, which is like impossible to do, right? I'm going to pay off all my debt, which is impossible to do, right? I mean, how many people do you know that do either one of those, let alone both? And I'm going to build this big business, and I'm going to be a rock star. It's all going to be wonderful. And the other day I was talking to the great Lene, who's one of our oldest members here and most honored members. And we were talking and we were giggling because something very special happened to me last week. And we'll get to that at the end of the story. But I was kind of making an analogy. And I said to her, Lene, it was kind of like I was sitting on the shore in New York. And I grew up in New York. I live in Connecticut now. And I'm sitting on the shore. I'm kind of like, I don't know where, down like at Coney Island or something for anybody that knows New York. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking across the ocean. And I go, I'm over here. I'm in New York. I'm obese. I'm broke. I don't know what I'm doing. I know nothing about business. I'm a teacher. I know nothing about sales. I've never sold anything in my life. I know nothing about using a computer, zero. And I dared to look across the ocean and go, I'm going to go across the ocean. I'm going to go over there to the shore in England. I'm going to go over, Robin informs me, the place I wanted to go was Liverpool. So I said, all right, I'm going to do this. And I went and I got myself a surfboard. And I sat there and I contemplated. And the first thing that I really decided was that I wanted a business, not a buck. Okay? Guys, if that's the one thing, see, most people, especially I went to college and stuff, my parents sent me off, I, did all the things that the good girl should do. And I went to college and then I had that job in education. Well, most people want to build a career. They want to become whatever they want to become in their career. So I approached this as this was going to be my career. I wanted to build a business. And I will admit to you that I was very fortunate because I hadn't been exposed to all these opportunities and deals and, all this stuff. Very naive. I didn't know what network marketing was. And I thank God today that I didn't know. But I knew I wanted a business. I knew my family was broke and I needed to make some money now. But I knew that in the end, I needed to replace at least my full-time income. I had a good income. I made like $50,000 a year, which for, a young woman was pretty good. And I knew I needed to at least replace the income. So I was looking at needing to make at least $5,000 a month because once you took out the benefits and the this and the that, we were talking at least $5,000 a month. So I knew I had to get from here to there. And I wasn't looking for a big bang. I kind of looked at it like a marathon. So that was one of the first keys. One of the very first keys, and I talk to business people all the time. I do a lot of coaching with people. I also train, groups of people. And one of the things that I find often is their perspective is very, very short. They want to know if they can make money this month or in the next 2 months or in the next 3 months. They're not looking with a long perspective. So if I had one thing going for me, it was that. So I said, all right, I'm ready to go. I got on my wetsuit. I grabbed my surfboard. And then instead of jumping into the water, trying to get up on the board and trying to hang 10, which we all know there's no waves in New York to start with, I leaned over the board and used it like as a flotation device. And all I did was go, remember when you learned how to swim and you were a little kid and your parents would hold your hands or you had a tube and they'd go kick, 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 kick? That's what I did. I leaned over the board and I went kick, 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 kick because I needed to hit my first goal. My first goal was learning how to make $500 a month. You see, $500 a month was going to get me out of debt because I knew if I could put $500 extra onto my bills, it would take away the calls. Guys, it was so bad, I was disconnecting my phones in the evening so that they wouldn't ring because if I left them connected, they would just ring incessantly. And some of you guys have never experienced that, but I know there are people on the phone that have experienced that. It's horrible. It's mortifying. And I knew that I needed to figure it out. So I got on the board, I leaned over, I put my feet back, and I went little kicks, kick, 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 kick. That was reading the manuals, learning the basics, learning how to do a presentation, the basic stuff, how to do, the basic opportunity and show the business plan, how to show the products. Learning how to get a retail sale. Simple, simple, simple stuff. Interesting, though, because most of the people that, want to make a big splash and want to get rich have never done those things. Kick, 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 kick. And before you knew it, I had figured out, because it wasn't very hard, how to retail some product and how to make $500 a month. I still had no clue how to recruit anyone. I had no clue how to build a downline. I didn't know anything about that. All I knew is I needed money. So I focused on the thing I needed to do.